One summer evening, the engines were resting in the shed after a hard day's work, when the Fat Controller arrived with news for Thomas and Gordon. "It would seem," he said, "that many passengers who come here on the express do so to travel on the branch lines, most notably yours, Thomas." Thomas was very pleased.
"As such, it's only natural we ensure as much comfort for these passengers as possible. So tomorrow, a special coach will be attached to the express for those who want to travel on the branch line. Gordon will bring it back to the station, where Thomas will pick it up with his own train."
"Oh, thank you, sir," Gordon beamed. "We will ensure that this coach is given our best care." The Fat Controller smiled and walked away. "To think, little Thomas," boasted Gordon, "the express will look grander than ever before, and I'm sure this coach will give your line a bit more flair as well. Not that it didn't before, of course." "Indeed," agreed Thomas. "Annie and Clarabelle will appreciate another coach too. They can get a bit full sometimes."
"Don't know why you two are making a great scene out of this," grunted James. "It's only one extra coach."
"Ah, but of course you wouldn't get it," retorted Gordon. "It's a coach for those who wish to see the best of our railway, the fastest train on the main line, and one of the most important branch lines," added Thomas. James snorted and, along with the other engines, decided to say no more. The next day, Gordon brought the express to the end of the line and rested before the return run. The station master told him that the special coach was to be added here. But as he returned to the platform, he looked along the train and his eyes widened with shock. There were the usual bogie coaches and at the far end a small four-wheeled coach. It had a wooden body, a shabby and dull red paint job, and its shape was similar to Annie and Clarabelle. Gordon spotted the station master and hurried over. "What's the meaning of this? Why is that on my express?" The station master followed his gaze. "Oh, that's your special coach." Gordon was horrified. "That?" he spluttered. "That tiny antique? There must be a mistake." "No mistake, Gordon. The Fat Controller asked for that coach specifically, so I guess that's it." He walked away to his office, while Gordon seethed with fury. He soon backed onto the train and before long was out onto the main line. He maintained a sour mood the whole way back. The coach was nowhere near him, but knowing it was there, the express didn't feel the same. As he approached Edward Station, James was sitting there with the local train. He was very surprised at what trundled behind the express. "Oh, wow, Gordon," he chuckled. "Is that it? Yes, that looks very grand. Definitely befitting the fastest train on the main line." Gordon wanted to blow steam at him, but by the time he'd thought about it, he had already flown by the station. Meanwhile, Thomas had pulled into the big station with his coaches. He now waited for Gordon's arrival with excitement. When the big engine eventually steamed in, Thomas was not expecting his grim expression. "Hello, Gordon," he said. "What's the matter?" "Oh, Thomas," Gordon moaned pathetically. "It's a shame, an absolute shame." Thomas glanced back at the Express and raised an eyebrow. Gordon, what's that little coach doing back there?" "That is supposed to be our special coach," fumed Gordon. He sulked away before Thomas could reply, who was just as surprised. When it was time for his next train, he was coupled up to the coach and set off. On the journey, the coach ran smoothly behind Anne and Clarabelle and was able to traverse the many tight curves on the branch line. Thomas, meanwhile, remained indifferent. He was nowhere near as offended as Gordon, but did feel rather underwhelmed. "It doesn't look all that different from you two," he sighed to his coaches. "There's hardly anything unique to it." "I think it suits us well," huffed Annie, "though I suppose a brighter paint job would have been nice." That evening, the two engines met in the yards. "Special indeed," rumbled Gordon. "It's just any other coach." "You'd think the Fat Controller would pick something that stands out more," agreed Thomas. "Well then, perhaps we'll have to take matters into our own buffers." Gordon whispered his plan to Thomas. The little tank engine wasn't so sure. "Will that be all right?" he asked. "It shouldn't cause a huge fuss," assured Gordon. "Besides, as the Fat Controller would say, we must ensure as much comfort for our passengers as possible." "Okay," smiled Thomas. "We'll do it tomorrow." The next morning, Gordon had arrived at the end of the line. He left his coaches and rolled into the yards. As he moseyed along, he surveyed the nearby sidings and sheds and soon spotted what he was looking for. Sitting alone was another bogey coach wearing a beautiful red and yellow paint job that shone in the sunlight. "Perfect," thought Gordon, and then he saw the shunter walking across the yard. "Excuse me, sir," he called sweetly. "There's been a change in plan. That coach over there, the Fat Controller wants that to be the special coach for today." The shunter was puzzled. "Are you sure?" "Yes, it's considered more adequate for the role." The shunter still had doubts, but complied nonetheless. Later, Gordon set off with the Express, now in higher spirits. He thundered along the line, making good time, and the passengers all seemed pleased, especially those in the special coach. Soon, the train arrived back at the big station. Thomas lit up when he saw the coach. "Enjoy your little trip, Thomas," grinned Gordon. "That coach should do very nicely." He quickly puffed away and Thomas backed onto the coach. "It does look more stylish," said Clarabelle, "but will that be all right on the branch line?" "Of course," replied Thomas. "Don't worry, I'll take great care as always. Everything will be under control." With that, he puffed away. Come along, chuffed Thomas. He was feeling very proud. At all stations and crossings, people stopped and stared at the unusual addition to his train. Annie and Clarabelle still had doubts, but tried to stay positive. They were on time and everyone was happy. What was there to worry about? Just after the station by the river, the line took an abrupt, sharp curve beneath a road bridge. The engines on the branch line have no issue with these curves due to their short wheelbases. The coaches and trucks are short too and can traverse the line with ease. The special coach, however, was long, and though having small bogies, they could only turn so far. Thomas approached the curve at his usual speed. He was looking forward to telling Gordon how his journey had gone when... "Oh, good Lord!" shrieked Clarabelle as an awful screeching sound was heard. Thomas stopped immediately and looked back in horror. The rear bogie on the special coach had come off and now sat in the dirt. The passengers were more cross than hurt and yelled strong insults at the engine and his crew. "Oh dear," said Thomas shakily. "Yes," grunted Annie, "that wasn't very under control, was it?" Percy soon arrived with some workmen to clear the mess. He brought the coach back to the junction, and Thomas continued onwards. He dreaded what the Fat Controller would say. Later that day, he found out, along with Gordon.
"When you pulled out of the mine, Thomas," the Fat Controller began, "I believe you two formed an alliance of sorts. What was it? United we stand, together we fall? Well, you two have certainly fallen today into great stupidity."
"With respect, sir," Gordon said calmly, "when you said a special coach, we—"
"You expected something more grandiose, yes, I know," interrupted the Fat Controller, "but I needed to consider both the main and branch lines in my decision and choose something suitable for both. Hopefully, after today, you don't need to be educated on why."
Thomas and Gordon didn't. As punishment, Gordon and Thomas swapped duties with James and Percy respectively. They did so for a whole week before finally returning to their regular jobs. They accepted the special coach without complaint, and their trains ran like clockwork. They still felt silly, though, and agreed not to let something so simple get under their paint again.